everyone, my name's Claire Marie Lim, and I'm an Ableton Certified Trainer and an instructor at 343 Labs. Ableton recently announced the release of Live 11, and we're so excited to share about it with you. Here are 5 of the 343 team's favorite parts about the new release and some examples of how to use them. In Live 11, we have the ability to record and edit multidimensional polyphonic expression data, or MPE data for short. Here, I've set this instance of wavetable on this yellow track to respond to MPE pressure messages from Ableton Push 2 by tweaking parameters in wavetable's new MPE modulation matrix. The more pressure I apply to a note on push, the brighter the sound gets, and the more it scrolls through our currently selected wavetable. I managed to record some clips with MPE data into Session View in Live, so let's take a listen. Here is a clip of a synth playing chords. I can see the data that I've recorded by heading into the Updated Detail view at the lower section of Live and clicking on this new Expressions tab. This shows me any note expression data that I might have recorded, and each of the notes I've played has had their pressure MPE data individually recorded. I can fine-tune my recordings by clicking in the expression editor and moving breakpoints around. This is similar to how I'd normally edit automation data in Live. So let's listen to everything in context. All in all, this lets us be more expressive with our MIDI programming in productions and performances. In Live 11, we have the ability to set note chance, which is the probability that a MIDI note will occur. Let's take a look at my drum clip in this track over here. I've got a series of 16th note hi-hats, and here's what this currently sounds like. Cool. Now in the lowest section of clip view, I can see that the probability of all of my drum sounds is 100%, which means that every sound will always play. However, in this case, I think I'd like to add some variation to the hi-hats. So I'm going to select all of my hi-hats, and then I'm going to drag their probability markers down to, let's say, around 37%. This means that there will be a 37% chance that the hi-hat plays, and let's take a listen now. A MIDI note that doesn't have a probability of 100% will have a tiny black triangle on its top left corner, so that's a great visual indicator of something that has a different probability. These options let Live generate surprising variations to our patterns that can change over time, and this gives us another way to humanize our music and make it unique. In Live 11, we can use macro snapshots to store the states of our macros in racks for later recall. Think of these as presets for different parameter settings of the macros in a drum rack, an instrument rack, or an audio effect rack. So let's take a look at our keys track over here in purple. I'd like to experiment with different macro settings that I have, so I'm going to start off by making a snapshot of my current settings. To the left of my instrument rack over here, I'm going to click on the tiny camera icon, which will pop out the macro variations list. I'll click the New button to save this first setting as a variation. Now let's play the clip and tweak some of these macros a little bit more. I'm pretty happy with these new settings, so let's press New to create another macro variation. I can now switch between the 2 variations I've created by clicking on their launch triangles to compare the different settings. Let's play this clip back and compare the variations. This is great for trying out different rack parameters in the creative process, and can also be a nice way to enhance live performances by making quick variations in a live set. In Live 11, we can easily record and organize multiple takes of an audio or a MIDI performance. Let's dive into this by just recording some vocal audio into this looped section over here in the arrangement view. While I'm recording my vocals, I'll make a couple of variations here and there in the vocal line each time, since I have a few ideas of what could work here. So let's get started by arming this track and recording. Now that I've recorded a few takes, I can right-click on the name of my vocal track and select the option to show take lanes. This lets me see each of my audio passes, and I'm going to color each of these differently for organizational purposes. Let's make this blue. Let's make this one pinkish. Let's make this one purple. And let's make this one yellow. One last one. We can leave that as green. I think that's fine. So let's close up the detail view so that I can see all of my takes at the same time. I can then enter draw mode in Live by clicking on the pencil icon at the top right. And now I can select which parts of each take I might want to include in my composite track on top. This creates a comp in my main audio track, which is all the best parts of the different takes. These features let us find our favorite parts of each performance that we've recorded and easily combine them to create a single fluid take that we can then continue to work on after comping. Spectral Time and Spectral Resonator are two of the several new audio effect devices in Live 11. Let's start by putting an instance of Spectral Time onto our vocal comp track. This is found in the pitch and modulation category under audio effects. This categorization is also something new in Live 11. Spectral Time lets us slice a sound into multiple parts related to its frequency content, which we can send into a delay for some really cool pitch shifting and time-based effects. Let's solo the vocals and tweak some of the knobs. Now let's add Spectral Resonator behind Spectral Time. Similar to Spectral Time, this device splits a sound into its partials, and then lets us process the result by a frequency or a note. We can also use the MIDI sidechain input to process material according to a set of MIDI notes that we've programmed on a different track. So I've just put Spectral Resonator into MIDI mode. Let's set the MIDI from input to take information from our keys track. And now let's take a listen and tweak some more knobs. So let's listen to everything in context. These devices open up lots of sound design possibilities with their spectral processes and let us do things like blur, stretch, granulate, bend, and transform sounds in many new ways. So those were our favorite features from the new release of Live 11, and really, we only just scratched the surface of what's new. Let us know in the comments what your favorite feature about Live 11 is, and if we didn't mention it in this video, stay tuned for more video content about Live 11 from 343 Labs. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on the notification bell so that you can be the first to know when we have a new Live 11 video out. Once again, this has been Claire from 343 Labs, and thank you for watching.